Okay.
Hi, David.
So good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I am super excited. Welcome to Learn How to Use Your Book as a Launch Pad for Success, featuring Keith Leon. Keith is a multi-best-selling author who owns a successful publishing company and is known as the Book Guy. Keith Leon has appeared on many popular radio and television broadcasts, and his work has been covered by Inc. magazine, yay, LA Weekly, and the Huffington Post, and Secret magazine, Succeed magazine, just to name a few. He has spoken at events that have included Jack Canfield, Neale Donald Walsch, Barbara DeAngelis, John Gray. I'm going to have to mute. Sorry, somebody's got noisy keypad.
It's typing.
Yes, hold on. How do I mute? There we go. Hi, Hallie.
Keith. Hey, and sorry. Please continue.
It's okay. It's perfect. Keith's passion is teaching people how to go from their first thought to bestseller and how to create what he calls the world's greatest business card. And he is not kidding when it comes to the world's greatest business card. This process has actually transformed my business in so many ways. Together with his wife, Maura Leon, he is the co-creator of the YouSpeakIt Book Process, where all you have to do is show up to 7 phone calls and they will create for you a book you'll be proud to call your own. Welcome to this webinar, Keith.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Appreciate you. And welcome everybody to that How to Use Your Book as a Launchpad to Success webinar. I just want to let you know right now that if you stick around till the end of the webinar, you will receive a very valuable bonus. So stick around with us till the end and you'll receive that. We'll give you the information. Now, I have been blessed enough to speak on the largest stages in the world. I have the 3 best mentors I could ever wish for: Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, John DeMartini. 6 months of the year I live in Florida, and the other 6 I live in Vermont. And I get to work with incredible entrepreneurs, visionaries, people just like you. I'm so blessed, but it was not always this way. In 2002, my wife and I wrote a book together, our first book, called The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships. And can you mute, Shannon, because I'm giving my audio feedback. Perfect. So it wasn't always this way. We did the 7 Steps to Successful Relationships, and we got John Gray to endorse our book on the front cover, right? So a relationship book with John Gray's endorsement on the front cover, you would think that that was a game changer, but it was not, right? I was still speaking in front of 20 people. I didn't know what to do with the book because I did not know that this book with John Gray's endorsement on the cover was my credibility. I didn't know that it was my ticket to get to large stages. I didn't know that I could use it to get on TV or radio. And I didn't know that this book was my business card. And I had not yet developed the way to hand it out as such. And so therefore, I had a house full of books, right? And I love this picture because I'm only half joking about this. We had boxes of books that were our end tables. I mean, we had these things all over the house because back then you had to order a lot of books to get a great price. And we got all these books and we had no idea what to do with them. So we had books all over the house. I wish I had taken a picture of those actual books, but I love this picture, cracks me up. So then the book that completely changed my life, and many of you know this, is this book, Who Do You Think You Are? Discover the Purpose of Your Life, where I interviewed 68 people that I felt were completely living their purpose. And these were the best-selling authors, the best speakers of the world, the top marketers in the world, people in show business that were really successful. And I interviewed all these people and asked them about their life purpose. And I identified the ones who were the best sellers, who were the marketing geniuses, who were the best speakers in the world. And I asked them, would they teach me? Would they teach me what they know about how to create a best-selling book? And when would they teach me? And how much would they charge me? And all of them said, I will give that to you. And they took me under their wing and they taught me everything that they know, which was a mind blower. So with this book project, I got Jack Canfield, right, to do the interview and to do the foreword. I asked all of those world leaders to teach me, just like I told you. which then catapulted me onto the larger stages. Now I'm speaking to 1,000 people instead of 20. I was able to get the radio and TV interviews, and people experienced me as a doer, which is really cool. I was no longer the person that was going to someday have a book. I actually had one. I completed it. And so people saw me as a doer. They also experienced me as successful. And they experienced me as the people in the book. And I want you to hear that. When you get endorsements from really well-known people and you have that on your book, people see you at the same level as those people. So it really catapulted me into a whole different stratosphere and a whole different feeling about myself, right? I was able to speak from a different place and kind of, as Adam Markell says, kind of stick my chest out a little bit, because now I felt like I deserved to be on the stage. And that was a huge difference, where before I kind of put those people on a pedestal and I thought that they were so great. What did I have to offer? It helped me realize that what I had to offer was as valuable as what they had to offer, which is a huge change. So I started using this book as my business card, and I tested different ways to do that. And I found the best way, which is the way that I teach people how to do it now. So I went from Keith who to the book guy in just 9 months, which is really, really fast, okay? Because what I realized was, since all those people took me under the wing, taught me everything that they knew, I was the only person alive that had all of that information. And I would share in my Earn the Right, which is the piece that you do at the beginning when you speak. It kind of shows like where you came from and why people should actually listen to you. I would talk about how I went from, Keith who to the book guy, and people would come up to me after and say, "Aren't you that book guy? Hey, aren't you the book guy?" And so essentially the people named me that. I ended up looking at the domain and it was available. So I realized that I needed to just own that and become the book guy. Start teaching people how to get their mission and their message out to the world. So before this book, back when I had the 7 Steps book, right? And even before then, I was the champion of how not to ask for support from people. I did not know yet what I now call right asking. I would go to people and just ask them if they would help me get to my next level, if they would help me with the project. And I got no's from all the top experts in the world. No, 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 no. So many no's. And I was just a champion of that. And so I want to tell you what doesn't work. Now, for those of you who may have been at Shannon's event and you came to my writing and asking workshop, some of this is going to be a repeat for you, but it's good for you to hear it again. But as I told you, I would give you more. So stick around, more is coming. And I'm going to go through these quickly. So what doesn't work when you're asking somebody for support? Somebody who can get you to the next level because of their name, their recognition. First is asking for too long. I was a champion of that. Blah, 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 blah. My wife and I are relationship experts. And we got John Cray's endorsement. We work with couples. And we work with corporate. And we work with kids. And we would blah, blah, blah. And I would talk until they were just wanted to get away from me. So asking for too long doesn't work. I was a champion of it. I'm going to tell you what not to do instead of that. Asking for too much. Like, oh, can you help me with this and this and this and this? That's a no answer every time. Too many choices, right? Option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm out. Sorry, can't help you. What else doesn't work? A confusing or convoluted ask. I get this a lot from people. Sometimes I don't really even know what they're asking for because they're telling me stories around what they're asking. I don't need all the story. I just need to know what you're asking in the least amount of words humanly possible, and make it easy for me. And then I'm going to most likely say yes, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So what else doesn't work? A needy ask. Oh, will you please help me? Right? I love this photo of this guy. When I saw this, I was laughing so hard because this is how I see who I was before. And the funny thing is there was I think it was John DeMartini's people. There was one project that we did where I talked to his people and I was asking for support and I got a no. And then I came back after I learned how to do right asking. I came back and asked again, and I got to know this team member really, really well. And I got a yes this time. And as we got to know each other, what I found out was that person at some point clicked in and realized that I was the person who had asked the year before. And she said, literally, I don't recognize you. You're a completely different person. Who you were then, that needy, I need you to get to my next level, is not who's in front of me today. So good on you for coming this far in this small amount of time. So a needy ask. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they're really needy, what do you want to do? You want to get away from them as quickly as possible, correct? So if you stand in front of somebody needy, they're going to want to run away too. Now, of course, them giving you an endorsement or them supporting the project will help the project. And there's still a different energy when you know that the project itself is so great that it's going to be fine, and that they're only going to help make it a little better if they support you. So believe in your project, believe in yourself, and when you get those two things down, then you stand in front of them, they won't feel the needy energy, and you do the way that I'm going to teach you in a moment called right asking, and you're more apt to get a yes answer. Here's what I want you to know. Doers help doers. When you show up, you have a great project, you ask in a lasered, quick way, right, for support. They know that you're a doer, and if you make it easy for them to say yes, they will say yes. So there's this thing that I've developed called right asking. And here's what right asking is. This is my definition. Right asking is asking in a way that makes it so easy to say yes that the person you're asking will say yes. Will you read that with me? Right asking is asking in a way that makes it so easy to say yes that the person you're asking will say yes. Thank you. It's all about asking the right questions and making it super, super easy for them to say yes. So a question that you could ask somebody of influence is, what can I do for you? And I have a story about that. There's a gentleman named Brendan Burchard. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He speaks all over the country, and we helped him with his first book to become a New York Times bestseller. He invited us to an event as VIP guests, and then he invited me to another event. And so I just finished his second event as his guest, and I was waiting in the line of all the people who were waiting to see him after he spoke. And I know that all those people are going to be exhausting him. They're going to be asking him for things. And so I keep putting myself in the back of the line. Someone comes up behind me, I say, oh, go ahead. I keep putting myself in the back of the line. So ultimately, after 90 minutes of people, talking his head off and asking him for things in the way that doesn't work, I was the last person to step in front of him. And I said, Brendan, I want to thank you so much for inviting me to the second event as your VIP. I got so much out of this. Thank you for inviting me. Now, you've done so much for me. I want to ask you a question. What can I do for you? And he paused, and I waited, and he looked at me and he said, I don't know the answer to that question because nobody has ever asked me that. Nobody had ever asked him, what can I do for you? So he said, well, I don't know exactly all of the things that you do, so, let's figure something out. I told him, well, I know that you've been speaking all day and you had all these people. Now's not the time. How about if we connect next Tuesday and I'll follow up with you and we'll find out how I can support you then. He said, great. We exchanged information, and then I called him on Tuesday and I offered to do a piece of music for him. Now, ultimately, after writing a song and recording it and sending it to him, he didn't end up using it. And that was okay because I had tried, right? I had done something. I asked him, what can I do for you? I did it. I delivered it. And for years after that, anything that I needed, he was an absolute yes to, because of the one time, the one thing that I did for him. So this is powerful. What can I do for you? That will set you apart from everybody else, just that one skill. Now, if you're asking a speaker or a best-selling author for support, right, after we spoke on stage, our head is usually spinning around, right? So read this with me. After a speaker just completed speaking at the event, it's really hard to focus. It's the wrong time to ask for anything. People will line up to talk to the speaker. or get their book signed, and your head's already spinning around. You're just doing your best to try to stay focused and be with those people. So what happens is people ask for support for a project with an idea at that time, put way too many words on their ask, and they get, hopefully, a polite no answer to their request. Sometimes not so much, right? That's just because the speaker's tired, grouchy, and maybe had an ask that just was convoluted, or one of those things that I told you about earlier. So these people, and myself included previously, wonder, why did I get a no? But not you. You are not going to do this to any speakers from now on, right? What you're going to do is you'll step up and they'll say, hey, what's your name, right? That's usually what we say. Hey, what's your name? And you'll say, hi, my name is, and I'll use myself as an example. Hi, my name is Keith. It's great to meet you. I really love your work. And I know that people are constantly asking you for things. So I'd like to flip that around right now. You've done so much for me. So what I'd like to know is, what can I do for you? They, shocked by your request, because nobody but me has ever asked them that, right? Or one of my students will say to you, oh, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. What do you do? You say, well, I know that you just spoke. Your head's probably spinning around right now. So how about if we connect on Tuesday? I'll let you know what I do, and we'll see how I can give back to you for all you've done to me. They're shocked. They're like, wow, thank you so much for asking. They usually grab their assistant, right, and have you exchange phone numbers, set up an appointment or something. So I look forward to connecting with you soon about that. Turns to his or her assistant. Can you schedule a call with Keith for next week? So you follow up on Tuesday next week, right, or whatever day you guys decided. So the assistant answers the phone. Hi, my name's Keith, and I met you at whatever the event was called last weekend, or whatever information is appropriate there. Brendan's done so much for me, and I want to give back. So we set up a call to explore the possibilities of how I may be of service. Ah, yes, the assistant says, I remember you. I'll put you through. Amazing, right? You call, you get put through. Please stand by. So once the mentor picks up the phone and says, hello, again, hi, my name's Keith. I met you at the event, right, last week, whatever it was called. You've done so much for me, and I want to give back. So this is the call for us to explore the possibilities of how I may be of service to you. And then wait for their lead. They'll take it from there. What you want to do is explain in the least amount of words possible what it is that you do and what your strengths are. What are you good at? What are the things that you do that come easy to you that probably don't to them? You offer a way to give them something, even if it's just, hey, I can tell my Facebook and Twitter peeps about you, right? When next time you have a new product or a project, or you're speaking at an event, anything you want, let me know and I'll let my people know. Or even my small email list, right? It doesn't matter how big or how small, they're going to appreciate the offer. And then later, after you've done those things for them, when you need something, right, and you follow up and you say, hey, would you be willing to mail out to your list about this? Then they're more apt to say yes, because you gave first. You've already done something for them. So they feel like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that for them. And especially if you can do your ask in 30 words or less. That's key. So a nice, lasered, quick ask is always a winner. Another thing that works, and I have proven this and really made a career out of this, is endorsements, right? Getting other well-known people to endorse you, your book, or your product. Because it's not what we say about our business. It's not what we say about our book. It's not what we say about our products. It's what other people say, right? If you're reading an endorsement, isn't it more important than what those people said, as opposed to the person can stand up all day long and say, my product is great. Who are you going to believe, right? So to get endorsements, and this is super valuable. And so for those of you who are on the other, in the other live event, and I went through the right asking that I just did, this is extra stuff. And for those of you who weren't on that, this is going to be great for you. So to get endorsements, right, from well-known people, make a list of all the people that you would love to endorse your book, to endorse your product, to endorse your service, or to endorse you. I'm going to say book in all of my examples because I'm a book guy, right? But you can insert the word that's appropriate to you every time I say book, right? So don't limit this list, which means if you want to write Oprah, right? Do not limit it. Sky's the limit with your list. It's a vision board, and a lot of times you will end up getting some of those incredible people that you thought you would not get. And if you hadn't written their name on the list, you would have never got it. Right? So if someone's super well known, write that name down anyway. Most people in the self-help arena, they're not hiding. They're going to be easy to find through their website. You probably get their assistant first. But that's okay. The assistant is really the decision maker. When you get in good with the assistant, you've developed the right relationship. And once you've created your list, count how many names that you have on your list, and then write at least that many endorsement quotes about your book, your project, your product, or you. Yes, you have to pre-write endorsement quotes and make sure that they're 1 to 2 sentences. The longest is 2 sentences. 1 to 2 sentences, pre-written endorsement quotes by you, right? Now, I like to write about 150% of my list. So if I had a list of 20, I would write 30 quotes. And I'll tell you why in a minute. If my list was 20, I'd write 30. So keep the quotes simple and short. A good quote is one, well, it says 3 sentences here. 3 would be maybe your product or a personal testimonial about you. But for a book, you only have so much real estate on a book, so 2 sentences is key. Ultimately, shorter is better. Now, if you need good ideas, right, you're like, I don't know how to write an endorsement quote for a book. Well, then grab one of the motivational books on your bookshelf and read the endorsement quotes on the books. You'll soon find they're all very similar in nature. And just imagine that you read your book and you loved it, right? What would you say about your book? How would you give praise to it in the least amount of words possible? Make this process fun because it's as easy as you allow it to be. And I've had people that sit down and even do that part and still they're locked in. They're just locked. And so here's what I say. Borrow the exact quotes from somebody's book, right? If the book is about what your book is about, if the business is about what your business is about, it's okay to borrow that. There's only so creative you can get in 2 sentences. You can only be so creative. And I've never read an endorsement on any book and thought to myself, wait a minute, have I read this endorsement quote before? And went and found the book on the shelf. Does that make sense? It's 2 sentences, let it be easy and fun, and it will be. So this is a great process, and you're gonna need these endorsement quotes when it comes time for you to reach out to the people and ask for their endorsement of your book. Now, I hope it doesn't disappoint you too much, but I wanted to educate you on how this process is done in the real world, right? You will pre-write the endorsement quotes. The standard practice for getting quotes is to send an email with your very short request for endorsement, 3 endorsement quotes written by you, and 1 chapter or a book excerpt of your book. So if you're going to send 1 chapter, introduction is the best thing, I think, to send. I make a book excerpt which just shows the title page and then the contents page so they can see the chapters, and then 1 chapter of the book and the about the author. So either a book excerpt or 1 chapter, and if it's the chapter, it's either the introduction or your strongest chapter. And this is why. Here's why. People don't have time to read the whole book. And if you ask them to read the whole book, it's a no answer every time. Unless it's like a really good family member or somebody you've been friends with for a very, very long time. Even my mentor, like I would never ask Bob Proctor to read my whole book, ever. I would just send him 1 chapter. So I found the following statement to be the most effective in getting the yes answer from the person that you're requesting your endorsement from. I've included in this email, here's the statement. I've included in this email 1 chapter of my book and 3 endorsement quotes to choose from. I've included in this email 1 chapter of my book and 3 endorsements to choose from. Here's the money right here. this makes it sound so easy, right? You can either pick one of the provided quotes, change one of it to personalize it, or write one of your own, right? So I could, if I'm the person, I could close my eyes and point at one. That's how easy you've made it for me, right? Or I can point at one, change a couple words to make it my own. Or if I'm like John Gray, he's never ever going to pick a pre-written endorsement quote. It's not going to happen. He wants to read your book, the whole book, and then he'll write an endorsement quote. So that one's going to be a little harder to get, but if he does it, that's the way he likes to do it. But for most people, people like me, I'm just going to point at the one that sounds like what I would have said anyway. So now you've made it easy for the person to say yes, right? You've made it so easy for them to say yes. And some of the people are incredibly busy. They receive many requests for endorsements. So it's all how you ask that will determine the answer that you receive. So what I've shared with you is the way to ask, and it will greatly increase your possibility of receiving a yes answer because you made it so easy for them to say yes. Short and sweet is one of the keys to your success. Here's a valuable tip. If you have a preference to which one they choose, which of these quotes that they choose, put it last. I don't know why, but people will always pick the last one. I know that this happens, and I still pick the last one. It's hilarious, but it's true. So if you have a preference, put it last, and most of the time, they'll choose it. Now here's the template that I just went through, and I want you to see what it looks like. See how it basically, you want to have all the information in the email without anybody having to scroll down. So everything right up to the part where on my email it says blessings, Keith Leon, President, Baby Pie Publishing, right? That can be below where they would have to scroll to see it, no problem. But everything else from dear so-and-so all the way through the endorsement quote suggestions, right, should be all in the space of an email where they don't have to scroll down. So even if you have to shrink the text, any of that. Also, eyes, no colors. Eyes, no colors. So see how I say, I have included in this email one chapter of my book, see attached, and 3 endorsement quotes to choose from, see below. Notice how I put in baby blue, see below. Baby blue. Blue is throat chakra, right? Which is a good color, and it pops. So see below, my mind sees that blue, and I keep reading. You can either choose one of the provided quotes and blah, 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 and then endorsement quote suggestions, boom, there's the blue. So what happens is they either see the part that says see below, and they immediately go down below because their mind matches the blue with the blue, or they read the rest, the last 2 sentences, and then end up there. But either way, they will know that that's exactly what you were talking about. Those are the endorsement quotes. So it's a small thing, but it's an important thing. And sometimes people will take this exact template that I'm giving you, and they'll not do that one part, right? They'll not do the color-coded part. And it's really an important piece. So I just want to make a big deal out of it and make sure that you remember to do that. Blue is a good color. If you want to choose another color, that's fine, as long as it's a color that pops off the page. All right, so hopefully I've given you long enough to write down that template. All right, and if not, we're going to go through it again. So dear, and here's what it looks like. This is the, I want to get an endorsement for my book, Ask Letter. And this is money, folks. This works not only for me, but has worked for thousands of people that I've taught this over the years. And here's a cool thing. If you ask for an endorsement from somebody that I know, a well-known speaker, one of my mentors, one of my friends, they're going to recognize this template, and they're going to say yes just because you sent it to them like this. So dear, insert name here, I'm writing a book about life purpose. That's what mine was about, right? Called Who Do You Think You Are? Discover the Purpose of Your Life. So you insert your information, writing a book about what you're writing about. And if it's a business ask, right? I have a business that teaches blank, called, name of your business, and would love to have your endorsement, right? I'm a big fan of your work. Here's where I would say how I'm a big fan of their work. If I read their book and it changed my life, I read your book called so-and-so and it changed my life. If I saw them at an event last week, right? I could say, I saw you at this event last week, right? I'm a big fan of your work, but however you're a fan, that's what you want to put there. And if you can't think of anything particular, then keep these words. I'm a big fan of your work. I value your opinion, and I know my readers will as well. If this is about your business, I value your opinion, and I know that my clients will as well. I know that my followers will as well. Whatever's appropriate there. Use the template, but make your own words. I've included in this email one chapter of my book, see attached, and 3 endorsement quotes to choose from. See below. Baby blue, right? You can either pick one of the provided quotes, change one of it to personalize it, or write one of your own. Yes, we made it easy. Thank you in advance for saying yes to this request. I look forward to your reply. And there are the endorsement quote suggestions in baby blue. And one thing that I didn't do here, but would be good for you to do, is on these endorsement quote suggestions, put the name and what you think the title would be of the person you're asking. So, so under all 3 of them, I could put dash Bob Proctor, comma, author, comma, speaker, and featured teacher from The Secret, right? Because it's like, I think that's what he would put. And I put that underneath all of these quotes. And then when they see the quote, if that's not the title they want, they'll change it. They'll be like, oh, okay, actually I want Bob Proctor, and I just want author and featured teacher from The Secret. Or they'll change it and they'll let you know. And that way you don't have to come back later asking them. So those are the 2 things that should be in the email without having to scroll down. This stuff here, my name, pleasantries, anything else, it's okay. They can scroll down to see that. Take your time creating this letter. It means everything to the project and your success. And if you're contacting the person by a phone, which used to scare me to death, right? I used to not like getting on the phone with people. And so what I would do is I would use this letter that I had written as my notes to keep me on track. I would use it as my script. As you can see, I've written a book about this, called this, and I asked Bob for an endorsement quote, and I'm sending one. You can just use that as your template to talk through it. People, again, who are really successful, they don't have time to spend on the phone hearing somebody kind of drone on and on about their project. So the least amount of words possible, the better. Great. So here's what works, right? Here's what works to get your mission and your message out to the world in the current market. Joint venture partnerships. So joint venture is finding somebody who has a large list, maybe a list size the same as yours, or outreach the same as yours, and offering, hey, will you tell your people about my project, and next time you have a project, I will tell my people as well. If they have a bigger list than you, then that's where you do what I was talking about earlier. You could come up with something that you have or do that they don't have and offer that in exchange for an email, Facebook blast, whatever you're asking for them. Another thing is affiliate marketing. Some people will, if they have a similar product or they believe in you, you can ask them to put one of your products up on their site for sale and then give them a percentage. Those are 2 things that really work in the current market. And when it comes to getting your mission and your message out to the world, sound bites are super important. So what are sound bites? Sound bites are short interview answers, so that when you're interviewed on radio, interviewed on TV, interviewed on a webinar, you're actually going to give those people the questions to ask you, and you're going to know the answers, and you're going to make them as short as humanly possible. Sound bites are also just short quotes from you. Sound bites are a short description of your product or your project, and they are a short ask for support. So a soundbite is the ask letter that I just told you and shared with you. So you want to develop sound bites that sell. So again, you provide the questions when you're on a TV show, when you're on radio. Oprah, not so brilliant. I can't tell you how many people said, Oprah, oh my God, Oprah's so wonderful. The questions that she asks, she's just so great. And I just kind of giggled to myself, and I didn't tell them, but I know that every guest that she's ever had on, gave her the questions that she wanted to ask, and she was just reading out the teleprompter, and they were providing the answers that they already knew and that they had rehearsed, and they knew like the back of their hand. They knew their sound bites, right? And sound bites are answers to those questions that are 1 minute or 30 seconds, the least amount of words humanly possible to answer those questions. So for TV and radio, to get on TV and radio, you need to know this pitch. And it must be short, very easy to use, in a very specific language. And this is it. Hello, my name is Keith Leon. My best-selling book is called Who Do You Think You Are? Discover the Purpose of Your Life. I can teach your viewers, listeners, so viewers if it's TV, listeners if it's radio, it's going to be an audio webinar, something like that, how to discover their purpose in less than 2 minutes. So write that down. Hello, my name is blank, and my best-selling book is, if it's not best-selling, and my book is called blank, I can teach your viewers / listeners how to, what are you going to teach them in less than 2 minutes? And so when you call and you get a segment producer for TV, they answer the phone like this, what? Right? Then you have 30 seconds. You go, hello, my name is Keith Leon. My best-selling book is called Who Do You Think You Are? Discover the Purpose of Your Life. I can teach your viewers how to discover their life purpose in 2 minutes or less. When can you come, right? This tells them that you're a professional and that you've done this many times. So that's a really, really an important thing. So that's how you pitch segment producers for TV, radio, and it works. All right, next I want to talk about online strategies. What are some online strategies that will skyrocket your business to the next level? Online radio shows. There's so many radio shows now online. Everybody needs a guest. Everybody needs a guest. And if you show up and you ask them to be a guest in the least amount of words possible, and you provide them with the questions, they'll ask you the right questions, you can give the right answers, and you can be a great guest, and then they'll have you back. So online radio shows. Author-friendly podcasts. A lot of podcasts being done now. And the cool thing about podcasts, a lot of people put them up on sites and people just keep coming and listening to these podcasts. So it just goes on and on forever. Webinars like we're doing today. Teleseminar is just a webinar without video, right? Host and record Google Hangouts. Now it's Zoom. It was Google Plus, I think, when I created this slide. Now Zoom's the hottest thing. So host and record those. They're up forever as long as you have that link, right? And you have an active account. People can come and watch it. Update your email signature. So for every email that you send, right, ensure that you include info about your new upcoming book or whatever your project is, right? With the upcoming fill in the blank. And then link back to your blog, your book website, and update these things. Repurpose works, right? Group mentor workshop, you can take, okay, repurpose. If you have a book, you can take your book and do a 5-week, or however many chapters your book is. If it's 7 chapters, do a 7-week group mentor workshop and record that. All you have to remember is when you get to Q&A at the end to stop the recording, because you don't want to be chasing people down, asking, trying to get their permission to, and they may air some things that are really personal on the call. So you just got to remember to open up the webinar, deliver your content, and then stop it before you take any Q&A. And once you've done this workshop for 5 weeks, 7 weeks, however long it is, and you've done that, at the end, you have your home study course. So you can either continue to do that group mentor course every quarter or as often as you would like. But when you tell people about your group mentor course and they say, how much is it? And you tell them the price, if all the blood drains out of their face and they look like, oh man, I can't afford that, you can say, hey, how about if you could do the same exact thing from your home? That's why I created a home study course. And the home study course is only $497 or $197, whatever you want to charge for it. So So once you've created a book, once you've created a project, you've done the work, and now you just repurpose that into different ways that people can continue to work with you. If people feel connected to you, they like your mission, they like your message, they feel you, and they love you, and they want to work with you more, it's important for you to provide ways for them to do that, for them to continue to work with you. Some other things that work, Facebook videos. That's really hot right now. Everybody I know is doing them. And it's really cool because I get to feel connected. I get to see what they're doing. I get to see where they're at. You know, they're down at the beach and they're sharing with me where they're at. And it's just fun to be able to follow along with people in their day-to-day. And a lot of them are offering tips and strategies and really valuable things as well. You can create a Facebook author page or a Facebook fan page about your business, whatever it is for you, that'll work. And Facebook ads. Facebook ads are so great because you can target the exact people that you're looking for. I mean, with Facebook ads, if you know how to do it, you can target people that are entrepreneurs, that are 40 to 50 years old, that drink Pepsi, that like salad. I mean, it's crazy how much you can pinpoint it down to the exact person that you're looking for. So amazing. Facebook ads are really, really huge for selling products. And also Amazon bestseller campaign. If you have a book, so important. You want it to be a bestseller. You want it to get out to as many eyes as humanly possible. And when you couple that with a Facebook ad campaign, those two things together are the most powerful online strategy that I know to get your mission, your message out, and more importantly, to get people to continue to work with you and to recoup your investment for all upfront costs to get the book done, to get program done, anything. Those two things coupled together are really your best bet to recoup that investment and more. So speak to sell book strategies. I wanted to share these with you. A really, really great way, right, to get yourself known as a speaker are to do what Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield told me so many years ago. They said, Keith, the best way to get out there is to speak, speak, speak. Anytime, any place, anywhere. It doesn't matter if there's one person, 5 people, 100 people, or 1,000 people, do it. And after all these years, one day out of the week, Jack still has a whole day where he has his headset on and he's doing radio interviews, podcasts, any type of interview, anything that he can do from his house all day long, he's doing that. He still speaks. After all these years, one day a week. That's all he's doing for that one day in a week. Also, create a speaker press kit. So important to have to be a speaker is a press kit. And so you can Google speaker press kit, and almost everybody has the same exact information of what you're going to need for that. So I figured you can just Google it. I would let you do that as opposed to listing everything and have you trying to write everything down. Another thing is be the only one. Write this one down. Be the only one. And the way you can be the only one is if you are at one event and they're talking about their next event, and they're talking about what they're going to have at their next event, and they're doing all the bullet points. Here's what we're going to deliver at the next event. Write all those bullet points down. If you see a flyer about an event and it has what the event's called and when it is and all of the things that they promise to deliver, take all of the bullet points of what they say they will deliver and create your proposal based on those bullet points. What of those bullet points that they said they would deliver are you? Which are the things that you do that you could deliver? And you do your proposal based on their bullet points, and what will happen is you will hear these words. You know, for this section of the webinar, you're the only one for that. We've got to have you. Will you come to the event? You're the only one. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, you're the only one, because that's just the way that my brain thinks, right? If I hear somebody saying, here's what I'll deliver, I think to myself, how can I deliver that? And then I put together a proposal that shows I will deliver exactly what you promised the people who are coming to your event. I'll deliver that. And then that makes you the only one. Another strategy I want to share with you is putting books on chairs. Now, this is the one Shannon talks about all the time, that I taught her this one strategy, and this will be huge for you. Every event, once you have a book, every event that you speak at, put the books on the chairs before you speak, before people come in for that break. Put books on chairs and have a form that they can purchase the book and whatever you're going to be sharing as a possibility to work with you after the event, right? So if you've got something you're going to offer there, have those two things on the sales form and have it in the back page of the book that's already on their seat. So as you speak, you want to refer to your book 3 times. So you want to have 3 things that you're reading straight out of your book and it's part of your talk. And the first time you're going to say, please pick up the book that was on your chair and go to page 65. And then read along with me. And you have them read with you. And then, okay, please put the book down. You continue your talk. The second time, you say, please pick up your book and go to page 76. And let's read along from the second paragraph. And you read from the book. It's a teaching point. It's part of your talk. And please close the book now. Thank you. And put the book down. Then the third time, please pick up your book. Go to page 131. Have them read along with you. Please close the book and put it down. So at the end of your talk, you talk about what you're offering them in a way that they can continue to work with you, right? You do that whole piece. And then at the very end, you say, so now when you came in, there was a book on your chair. If you would like to keep that book, please pick it up now and fill out the form to purchase the book, and also the program if you want to do that. If you do not want the book, please pass it down and and our staff will pick it up. And here's what happens is everybody's like, wait, what do you mean give it back, right? They've already read the book 3 times. They had 3 touches with the book and it's theirs now. Most of them are not going to want to give it back. And so they'll at least purchase the book if they're not going to purchase your product or service that you've offered them from the stage. So you always want to be able to get something, right? You came to the event, you had to get there, you probably had to pay for a hotel, you had to do a lot of things to get there, and at least you want the people who saw you speak to have your book, right? To have your mission, to have your message, the whole reason that you're teaching, your heart, you want them to leave with that. So if you let them feel that at least 3 times, then they'll purchase the book. Most of the room will purchase the book. So that's just a huge thing that I wanted to share with you. So the rest of this bullet point was, get them to pick it up, read it. There's pride of ownership, sell your service from the stage, then ask them, keep the book. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you. When I say the part about pass it down, if you aren't going to buy the book, pass it down. Every once in a while, you'll see somebody's head go like this. And if their head goes like this, that means that one day, they don't have enough money even to buy the book. And so I always scan for the people whose head goes like this, and I kind of memorize them, and then I find them, and then this is what I do. Then I give them a copy of the book, because I'd rather that they have the message, and I don't want them to feel bad that they weren't able to buy the book. And when you give the book to them, they're just like, oh, thank you so much. And then they go out and tell people, it's like this guy knew that I couldn't afford the book and he just gave it to me. Well, I did know because their body language told me. And so I watch for it. So that's just a thing that I do. You don't have to do it, but I thought I would share it with you. So these are some strategies that will skyrocket your speaking business, skyrocket your book business. So here's what I want to share with you. For those of you who have done my other workshops and you're waiting for, what's that extra thing, right? What's that thing you told me you'd give me? This is a piece that I teach people who do our YouSpeakIt Book program, and they want to use their book as a business card. So if you already have a book, you didn't do it with me, but you've been wondering, like, how do I give my book out as a business card? And And you say it's going to triple my business? Like, how is that going to happen? I want to teach you the exact language that I use and perfected over the years. And I've taught this to so many people. And everybody who does it exactly the way that I teach with these exact words, then their business at least triples the next year. It at least triples the next year. And the only time that doesn't happen is when they change it, right? These words, exactly the way they are, work. So what happens is, you meet somebody at a party, you meet them at church, you meet them in the produce section at Vaughn's or, a store, right? And you're connecting with people and they say, hey, what's your name, right? And, oh, my name's Keith. What do you do? They always ask that. What do you do? And that's where I used to blow it. As I shared with you before, right? I used to talk people's ear off. Oh, my wife and I are relationship experts, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this, and blah, 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 blah. And they just wanted to get away from me, so they finally looked at me and they said, do you have a card? Not because they wanted to do business with me, because they wanted to get away from me, right? Do you have a card? Then I would blow it. I would give them that little teeny tiny piece of paper, just, the little thing. And somehow that little teeny tiny piece of paper was supposed to represent my mission, my message, what I do, why I do it. It just doesn't work. So I want to teach you this skill that does work. So the way you can do that is to not talk their ear off. It's right to come up with sound bites. We were talking about sound bites earlier, right? To come up with sound bites that get you to the point where they ask for your business card. And then if you have a book, you give the book as your business card instead of the piece of paper. So the first part, super important. You meet them, hey, nice to meet you. And they always ask you, what do you do, right? This is where you want to tell them one or two things only. One or two things. And if you can come up with something that sounds like really cool, I'll give you an example. I would say, I am a multiple best-selling author and a book publisher. They call me the book guy, right? And anytime I ask them, or anytime I say the book guy, right, they always ask me, well, what is it? What exactly does that mean, the book guy, right? So let's say if you said, I am a functional medical practitioner and a chiropractor, right? They would say, oh, what exactly does that mean? So if you come up with something that isn't completely obvious that describes what you do, they mostly ask you, what does that mean? And you say, well, what that means is I can take you from here to here, right? So in my case, I can take you from I'm thinking about writing a book all the way to bestseller. And wherever you are in that process, I can meet you where you are and get you to where you want to be. You see how short that was? That means I can take you from here to here. I can meet you here and get you to where you want to be. That was the least amount of words that I could use to explain exactly what I do. So that's what you want to come up with. That means I can take you from here to here, and you can just stop there, and it's just as effective. If you need to add, and the way that I do that is, and then it's one sentence, that's fine. But as I've shared with you before, the least amount of words is better. So I just put, that means I can take you from blank to blank on this template. So they say, wow, that sounds great. Do you have a card? Right? We get to that point now where they ask, do you have a card? Here's where, if you already have a book, and most of you, if you're on this call, most likely do. If not, it's in process. And if not, you're going to do one with us soon. So it's good for you to know this. They say, do you have a card? This is where you don't blow it and give them that teeny tiny piece of paper. You say, yes. Yes, I do. And so I have already taught you that you want to take and create a stamp, right? You know those stamps that have the ink in it, it's pre-made, right? You create a stamp that has your name, your contact information. So your name, your email, website, phone number, right? Just your contact information. You pre-stamped the book right on the front title page of your book so that you can open up the cover of your book and say, yes, yes, I do. As you can see, I've clearly marked my contact information in the front of your book. So take this home and read it. And when you're ready, give me a call, and I will give you, and this is where you want to offer them something of value, something that has value. So if you're a coach, right, or you're a mentor, you would say, I will give you the first call with me for free, right? For me, what I used to say is, I'll give you a book brainstorm call. Right? I'll give you a book brainstorm call, which, by the way, has a value of $500. Tell them, what is the value? What are you worth for what you're going to give them? What is it worth? So when you're ready, give me a call, and I will give you this, which has a value of this. So now you've given them a free gift, and you've told them that it has value. So when you're ready, now notice I said when you're ready twice. I said it in the sentence before, and now I'm saying it again. Why? We don't want them to call you until they're ready, right? Until they're actually ready to go. So when you're ready, call me, tell me that I gave you this book, and I will give you the book brainstorm session. I will give you whatever it is that you just told them. You just want them to hear the name of it twice, and they've already heard the value. It's my gift to you. I look forward to hearing from you. You hand them the book, you turn, and you walk away. Now, what did I not do? I didn't talk their ear off, right? I didn't give them too many choices. I didn't blah, blah, blah them to death. I gave them really short answers, and then I gave them a book that has a value of $20 value. Plus, I give them, in my case, the roadmap call has a value of $500. So I've just given them $520 worth of value, and then walked away, didn't talk their ear off, and then left them with something. And so the cool thing is, they're either going to take the book and read it and give you a call, or they're going to throw it on the table. And every time they pass the book that's on the table, it's going to harass them until they call you to get the free thing. It will harass them incessantly until they call you to get the free thing. It's so cool, and it works, but only every time, as long as you do it exactly the way that I taught you, with this verbiage, with these words, and just fill in the blanks. So if they call you back. So let's say you gave them the book and you walked away, right? If they call you back, hey, wait, is this book for me? And here's some of the things that I always hear over the years. Can I give you money for the book? Right? They see so much value. They're like, I can't just take this book. I got to give them something, right? So they'll say, can I give you some money for it? And you'll say, no, this is my business card. It's my gift to you. I look forward to hearing from you, and try to walk away again. Sometimes they'll ask you, well, will you sign it? Sure, sign it. Isn't it cool? You get to give them a gift. You get to do a book signing, right? And then you get to walk away, right? So before you do that, you sign it, and then you hand it to them, and you say, great, I hope you enjoy the read, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Turn and walk away. So this is so valuable, right? So valuable. You've given them value. You didn't talk their ear off. They're clear about what you do, and if they're not clear about what you do, they're going to read your book and find out exactly what you do. And so it's not if you'll hear from them, it's when you will hear from them. So I wanted to share that with you, because that thing right there that I just shared with you completely changed my business. Maura and I we were coaches. That's really what we had when we first did the Who Do You Think You Are book. We were coaches, and so we only had a few clients between us when this book came out. But using the book as my business card and developing this language, at one point, Maura had 32 coaching clients, and I had 35. So we went from a couple between us to 67 clients. So that's what can happen for you when you give your book as a business card in this exact way. So I wanted to share that with you. Now I want to give you even more, right? Even more information. So 1 week from today, I'm going to do how to use your business and your book to grow your business by up to 300%. So the skill that I just taught with you, that's one of the ways, right, that you can build your business to triple it. And this workshop that because I want you to know the value, which I just taught you, this workshop has at least a value of $500, and it's free today, right, when you sign up. So it's going to be 1 week from today, June 15th at 3 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And in this workshop next week, you're going to learn how to develop an elevator email. So I showed you one elevator email, right? I'm going to show you how another way to no matter what you're asking, right, to develop it. So in other words, I want to show you the form that I used. What's the exact form that I used, so that if you don't have a book and you're asking about something else, you'll know the form and you can just fill in the blanks with whatever you have, whatever's pertinent to you. I'm going to teach you within that form, right, how to ask people of influence for a live interview. There's just nothing more powerful than interviewing somebody who you always wanted to meet, interviewing somebody who you always wanted to sit down and just kind of pick their brain. Well, there's a way to ask them for a live interview that, again, it's so easy for them to say yes, that they will. And I want to teach that because I want to teach it to you because it completely changed my life, right? Getting these live interviews with these well-known people completely changed my face of my business forever. So I want to teach that to you. I also want to teach you how to overcome the #1 obstacle for book writing. There are a lot of obstacles, but there's one that takes out 99.9% of all authors. It takes them out. And I want to teach you how to get through that. I want to give you a tool that will make it so that every time that obstacle comes up, you use the tool and it just goes away and you'll be able to move through. And it not only works for writing books, but once you have this tool, it'll work with any obstacle that jumps in your way. So this is that is something that I have taught for years, and I teach at live events, and I teach in my group book mentor program, and I've taught so many people this skill. CEO space at the table. The first times that first few times I was there as a mentor, I taught this process, and it's just transformed the lives of so many people. So come next week for that. I'm also going to teach you how to easily turn your book into programs and products. Right? I already taught you how to take your book and create a group call, and then how to turn that into a home study course. What are the other things that you could turn it into? What other programs and products? I'm going to teach that to you. And also how to write a book without ever having to put pen to paper. Does that sound interesting? How can I write a book without ever actually having to write? I'm going to tell you about that next week. So if you'd like to book this complimentary strategy session, here's another thing. Okay, so there's the workshop that I just told you about. And if you're clear right now that you'd just like to book a complimentary book strategy session with me, go now to YouSpeakItProgram.com/call, YouSpeakItProgram.com/call, and that will give you the times that I'm available, and just set up a strategy session with me, right? We can talk about whatever it is that you wanted on this call that you didn't get. Let's say you're halfway through writing a book and you're stuck. Whatever you need that I can support you with, sign up for the strategy call. And then also we'll see you next week on the workshop. So for those of you who stuck around till the end, as I promised you at the very beginning, I would give you something. I'm going to give you a copy of the templates that I just shared with you today. So those of you who are kind of like struggling, trying to write everything down, my note takers, right? If you didn't get everything written down, don't worry. I will send you pre-written out for you the templates of those things. So why did I let you go through that process? Well, there's something about you hearing it and seeing yourself write it. So you're hearing it, you're writing it, all of that is already burned in a lot of what I was teaching you. And so now you can just take the templates and fill it in. And when you go to do that, that's another way of learning, right? So between those three, these things that I taught you today are really, really going to land for you. So if you want the copy of the templates, then email me at my email address, which is keith@bakeyourbook.com. That's Keith, Some people flip the I and the E for some reason. KEITH at bakeyourbook.com. And in the subject line, put send me the handout, please. I get a lot of emails, and so I'll be looking for the ones that have a subject line that says send me the handout, please. And that will help me sift through those. All right. So, so let me ask you, Shannon, what is a way that they will be able to get, I forgot to talk with you about this before, this call that we're doing next week, how can they sign up for that today?
So right now I would have them send an email, and I was going to make it while we were on the call, the registration, but I couldn't because I did Facebook Live. I'm so sorry. So
okay.
We can send it out, the link to everybody that's signed up. And then obviously on Facebook Live, we'll put it on the Facebook and attach it in the comments of this. And I should be able to do that within 10 minutes as soon as we get off.
Okay, great. So everybody who is, what about the people on Facebook? Okay, so
on Facebook, I'm going to put it in the comments, so they'll get it right attached to this video, and I'll add it right there.
Okay, great. So for those of you that I emailed the information to be on this call, I'll just email the information for the next call as well. So you'll get that. There we go. And then those on Facebook, she'll attach the link there. Awesome. So we'll see you next week on that call. And I just want to thank you so much for showing up. You know, 99% of success is showing up. You showed up today for you to get this information. Now all you need to do is to implement it and then let me know how it goes for you. So how are we doing on time, Shannon?
We're just a few minutes after, about 6 minutes after. We're good after 3 o'clock.
Okay. You want to take a few questions?
If you would like, I know that Hallie said that she needed to leave early. She said it was awesome. She said amazing. And then Patty said, thank you for the info. It was fun and helpful.
Okay, great.
If you have, Patty, we can unmute you and we'd love to hear from you. Or I can unmute you.
You can unmute me and they want to hear me to talk. Hey guys.
How's it going?
Hey, it's going. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help out my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I realize she's just recently has written a book and trying to get it out and published. I'm not exactly sure where she's at in the process, but she said, you know, check this guy Keith out. You know, go ahead and take notes. You know, and let me know what's going on. So I'm just trying to help her out. But I wanted to thank you guys for putting this on. I definitely took some notes, and I'm definitely going to email you about the templates that you have.
Great. And then later today, we're doing a call for people that are writing it. So if you find out in the next couple of hours that she's just in the process of writing it, or do you know if she finished writing it?
I have no idea. I'll be honest.
Okay, cool. All right. And additionally, she could book the strategy call with me, and I can find out where she's at and find out how I can support her moving forward.
Perfect. I will pass the info along. I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a good one.
Wonderful. Thank you, Keith. You just gave the farm away again. Every time I do anything with you, you just over deliver. So I am so blessed to know you. And just that one strategy on that slide with all of the items, just that one strategy, I was able to sell 65% of the room, which was 350 in getting the book. So it was it was a huge success. You're definitely a master at anything book. So thank you again for all that you give and share.
You're welcome. And so thank you for everyone for being on the call, and thank you, Shannon. I appreciate you hosting and doing this call for me. Thanks.
Perfect. All right. We'll see you soon.